Till now we discussed regarding function. Now previous videos we discussed what is function, why we use function, what are advantages of function, how we call function, declare function, and how find function. And we also discuss what are the parameters or types of parameter, that is what is actual and formal parameter. Now here in this video we're going to discuss basic of the passing a parameter inside function. There are two popular ways called as call by value and call by reference. So now in this video we're going to discuss these two types of function calls. So now in types of function call, we know that function can call by their names. Now we know that inside function we passing something, or if some function does not have any argument, then two function can call it directly by its name. But if by passing some parameters, that is we already discussed or studied in previous video types of parameter, that is formal and actual. Now basic or depending on the passing the parameters, there are two different ways based on how we specify argument, and there are two ways. First is the call by value and call by reference. Now the C programming is always having a call by value, or C programming is follow the concept call by value, not an call by reference. Now how it's follow, let understand first what is mean by call by value. Now call by value is nothing but it pass the value of argument which are stored or copy into formal parameter of function. Now it pass the value of argument. The name itself suggests it passed just value of argument and it stored and copy into formal parameter. Now what is mean by formal parameter? Now in last video we discussed formal parameter is nothing but it's an definition part, or inside definition part we passing some variables or we passing some parameters that becomes formal parameter. Now while we are talking about call by value, here we are passing some original value and which is unchanged, only the parameter inside the function change. Now what is mean by original value are unchanged and parameters of inside functions are changed. Now let's understand this with one example. Now consider one example here. We are making addition by using call by value. Now here in this program I accept two variables, variable 1 and 2, which is assigned value 10 and 20. Now this is called as a function call. Now in function call I pass value variable 1 and variable 2. Printed result of variable 3. That is, while this call a function or compiler get this calling a function, the control jumps to the definition part of the function. Now this is called as this particular part is nothing but function definition. Now inside function definition we execute some statement which are going to execute and return something. Now this function definition returned the result and it printed into the variable 3. Now this is called as a formal parameter. Now here in this example we call by value, that is it copies the actual value, Now variable 1 and variable 2 are actual argument or actual parameters. Now the actual parameter can also be a values. Now in this calling function, that is sum variable 1 and variable 2, it becomes sum of 10 and 20. And 10 and 20, these are the actual parameter. Now while we are copies the actual values of argument into the formal parameter. Now formal parameter A and B, so value of A becomes 10 and value of B becomes 20. So it simply copies and stored into formal parameter in case of call by value. Now the actual variable 1 and variable 2 is not changed. Now what is mean by the actual variable 1 and 2 is not changed? That is, it copies the actual values of argument into the form and change made the parameter inside a function. That is, if I change made or if I make the manipulation or execution of program, it doesn't have any effect or no effect on the actual variable. That is, we are passing argument by value, hence copy of variable 1 and 2 is passed to the function. Now which is update during function execution. Now there is a chances of updation A and B, that is the value of A 10 and value of B 20. It might be chances to change or updation during function execution or during function running, and or while running this statement it might be changed value of A and B, but still the value of variable 1 remain 10 and value of variable 2 remain 20. That is, it's not going to change, and that is nothing but call by value. Why? Because we are passing argument by values and copy of variable 1 and 2 is only passed, and copied values in the function is destroyed when function ends. That is, after ending this definition part, it goes out of the scope and the actual parameters are not changed, it remains as it is. So whatever change made parameter inside function, no effect on argument. So whenever you call a function, value 10 and 20 will be passed into sum, and if I change inside a function, let's understand it with one more example. Let's consider the same example, but here I just made the changes of A and B. That is, I increment value of A and B. Now we are passing the copies of variable 1 and variable 2 into is now the value of A is 10 and value of B is 20. But inside this function definition, I change the value of A, it becomes 11 and value of B becomes 21. Now though I am going to change or update value of A, it's not affect on the actual parameter, that is variable 1 and variable 2. This method only copies actual value of argument into formal parameter. Changes made in the parameter inside the function, that is, if I made the increment of A and B, I made the changes of value A as a 11 and B as a 21, though inside the function it's no effect on the actual parameter, and that is nothing but call by value. So while we are passing a value, means we are passing copy of data and it's stored by such a way that name of the parameter and any change in the parameter, no effect on data, that is no effect on the calling function. This is called as a calling function. This part is nothing but the function definition. So whenever you call a function, the value of 10 and 20 will be remain same, and it only simply passed to the function sum and replaced or copied or stored into formal parameter. And if I change made inside the function, but the changes value is not reflected to the actual parameter, and that is nothing but call by value. So this is all about the call by value. Now let's understand what is mean by call by reference. Now what is call by reference? In call by reference, we pass address. We pass a reference of a variable argument to any function. Now when we pass address of variable as argument, then the function will access to our variable. Now how it access variable? To manipulating the address. To manipulating address will get the value of that address. So indirectly we are calling, we are not passing here value, but we are passing here address, but we'll get the value only. So C programming is only follow call by value, but indirectly it's not an call by reference, it's call by value. Now in this diagram you can see here are two variables x and y. X storing value 20 at memory location 1000 and y is having the value 10 at memory location 2000. Now the pointer pointing PTR1 and PTR2, that is at the location of 1000 it stored the value of 10. Now here we are not discussing any regarding the pointer and address, we'll do later in next video, but here inside function we change the variable pointer 1 and pointer 2. What we are trying, we are just passing the address, to the function, and that is nothing but call by reference. Now let's understand this with one example. Now here in this example, value of A 100 and B is 200. Now while I am using a function swap, I am passing the address of A and address of B. So to pass an argument, we are taking the address of A and B and pass as a parameter. So formal parameter can be taken as a reference or pointer. In both cases, they will change the value of original variable. So we discussed in call by value, the actual values are not changed. But in case of call by reference, the actual values might be get changed. It changed the values of original variable because we are using the address or we are passing the address, and it is indicated or denoted by sum of int star p, that is the pointer, and it manipulates the value of that address, and that's why it's called as a call by reference. Now here we are passing the address and address is sent as a parameter and manipulate the value of that address. But still we pass the address, but indirectly we pass the value only, and that address is nothing but we are manipulating or fetching the value. Therefore C programming is only for call by value. So this is all about call by value and call by reference. Now in next video we are going to discuss call by value with one program. Thank you.